Diane Burnett. I'm here with Josh Carmichael. This is The Other Side. And I'd like Josh first to introduce himself, and then we're going to get into how we know each other and talk about, a little bit about what he has to say about relationships and women and men in general and how we commingle and cohabitate together. Maybe shed some light on both sides. So Josh, why don't you start with something about your bio here?
My bio, wow. Well, which one?
I know.
There's
that's
so
like me though. We wear a lot of hats. But that's
we wear a lot of hats in this world today. Well, thank you, Diane. Thank you for having me. That's it's really cool. It's great to see you, and I haven't seen you in like forever because of this stuff that's going on, and it's great to be face to face, even on video. I have a background in the entertainment business as well. Actor and a coach for many years, I've been in the business for 30 years, and I've been coaching and helping people for about almost 15 years now. And I've been told and been asked by so many people, and hearing about relationships, and we'll get into even you and I, we connected through part of this, and I hear this over and over again, there aren't any real men left in the world. Men don't know what to do with women. Men don't know how to be in a relationship or be sensitive or be open and be, connected or communicate well enough. So I'm creating the men's manual, and we're going to help men connect and be more chivalrous and more aware, and that's what I'm doing. I've been doing it for a while, but now we're kind of launching it on a bigger scale. So yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
I met Josh way back. Oh my God, is it 6 years or 7 years?
I think it's more like 8 years ago. Time flies.
Expo East in Baltimore. I was launching my drink. You guys had your product, and our booths were across from each other, and I was with my dad. My dad was helping me out. I connected. We started talking to each other. I think you came over to help me with the set up my booth. Right. And then the rest is history. We just totally connected, and you helped me on so many levels. I mean, we became really good friends, and I know that your advice is sound, and that was 8 years ago. I'm sure with your research and with you helping people since then, I'm sure you're more in tune to women and men and the dynamics of relationships, which besides the coronavirus and political things going on right now, which is the time, most people's focus is always on relationships. Always, no matter who you talk to. You can have major businessman talks about business, but when it comes to women, oh boy, it's like, and the same thing with women. We think about guys all the time. It's like men. What are we going to do with them? Or we're so in love and things are great, which I know a few people that are really happy and they're in sync, but more so than not, there's some disconnect. So why don't you help us? We're the other side to men and women and how we think in relationships.
Well, that's a really good thing you said, because we think about it all the time. People think about it all the time, and there are a few good relationships you hear about, but every once in a while you will hear about a good relationship that's positive, but they always take work. But I think that isn't that the one thing that we want in life, that our goal in life is to be with somebody that we love, to be loved, to share a common interest. And I think for women, it's kind of a way of being, I call it being worshipped, because men need to put women on a pedestal and know that I use the word cherish a lot. Like, I cherish you, you're a beautiful woman, and you're a great woman, and I cherish our friendship. So in that sense, I cherish women more than I think most men do, and you don't take it for granted. I think that's the thing with men, is that it becomes in some ways it becomes a power trip. In some ways it becomes, a dominating thing. Alpha, when you say alpha male, you go, because I go, well, I'm an alpha male. And when I talk to women, they're like, well, are you dominating? And I go, no. I said, I'm accommodating, but I'm not dominating. I like to be, I like equal. I like the equal partnership. So I think, that's what we're all searching for, right? We're all searching for love. We're all searching for the one, hopefully, or that kind of connection to where safety is another thing that comes up. So let me start with the men's side. So being a man and being I grew up in a household where my mother taught me to be polite and taught me to be a man and open the door for women and do that. And I can't tell you how many dates I've been on where women won't let me open the door out here. And I'm like, that's kind of my job, just
I like that. I'm old fashioned.
yeah.
There's parts of women liberation, but come on. I mean, that's nice when a man opens the door.
Well, it's like you open the door, you pull the chair up for her when you go to dinner. And, and I even go a little further. I'll stand up when they go to the restroom, because it's a gentleman thing. And so I want to make sure that she knows. I've even had women like, what are you doing? I'm like, standing up because you're going to the restroom, they're like, they don't even understand what that means. And it's just a polite thing. It's a courtesy.
And I get the other side of that where there's women out there. Like me personally, I can only speak for myself. I like that. But the other side to it is there's women, like you said, that you've been on dates that don't like it. So it's like, what would you do then? Would you be accommodating to them and just stop doing it, or would you be yourself?
I just be myself, and I go, a couple things. I say, look, that's part of who I am. Because usually they tell you like, hey, I want a real man. I want a real man. I want a man that stands up for me. I'm a protective man, a strong man, whatever the categories are. They vary from time to time, person to person. I go, okay, so if you want a strong man, if you want a real man, then let me be the man. Just let me be. That's one of my roles as a man, is to protect you, is to take care of you, is to honor you. And I think that's where we've lost it from you like that.
I like that.
You're like, oh,
I'm open. I've had guys that are like you, and I have guys that are kind of the other way. So yeah, then that's the question. How do women, you think, you're not a woman, but right. So this is where the disconnect is. And what you said before about searching for love and finding the right one. So if you go to, major spirituality, and I've been taking these courses with a lot of different gurus about self-realization and waking up. It's about loving yourself, and then all that other stuff will fall at the wayside, like the attention. Some people need attention, some people don't want attention. Some people want the door open, some people don't want the door open for them. So if things are content within yourself and you're happy within yourself, would all that stuff fall at the wayside and not be so important? What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a part of it. But, as human beings, we're continuously growing. So I don't think that we could ever just, and I think that's what relationships do a lot. They become complacent. So they become safe. They become, people settle. They settle into patterns. They settle into old patterns. They bring that stuff in with them. I don't know if I could swear on here or not. I say shit on here. I just did. Anyway, so they bring that crap, that stuff in from the past, and they don't allow for new growth, right? So if we're working on ourselves constantly, then the relationship's going to change as we get into it, and then we find out more about, let's just say the woman has. I find this a lot, so I'm going to use this subject matter. Women that have been cheated on. That's a big one, right? So women that have been cheated on, when they come into a relationship, or I say with a relationship with me, I notice that they're insecure. There's an insecurity of saying, well, you're a man, you could have anybody you want. Why pick me? You know, so they have this rotating insecurity of like, well, you could be with anybody you want. I'm like, so could you. You know, if you believe that, you can be with whoever you want. You can find whoever you want, but you have to know what you want. That's this. Here's the key.
Isn't
So
it ever changing though?
I think so. I think it does. I think it does. And that's what I was saying. When you find, so find someone that you have like common interest in, you know, or common interest with, you know, whether it's, if you're athletic, then you do athletic things together. If it's, you know, say tennis or whatever, find, if you have a few common interests, that helps a lot. That'll be like a good foundation. And then the other part is obviously physical connection. If you have the physical, the chemistry, and I'm going to tie that in because this is where men, in my opinion, are really lacking in today's world. They don't, they, you know, it's like sometimes you just got to take a woman and you got to make love to her because that's what men don't do anymore. We need to show up and be the man. Women women are not the aggressive type for the most part. They're not going to be the initiator. And I know it's like a touchy subject for people, but that's really where we're lacking as men. We're not stepping up. We're being passive, or we're being, you know, emasculated in some way to where we don't know what the hell to do. We just, you know, most men just show up and they go, well, if I'm nice to her, maybe she'll have sex with me, or maybe she'll make love to me, or maybe she'll like me more. No, that's not it. We got to step up and be men. You know, sometimes women need, it's not like we want to tell you what to do, but sometimes it's, you know, you got to just show up and take that.
And having intimacy where you're just holding somebody, doesn't necessarily always have to be about sex. It could just be about pure intimacy and holding hands and cuddling at night or watching a movie together. I mean, those are all things.
And so now you're coming, exactly. And now that kind of man, so you got to go, okay, you want an alpha male, right? You want a man that stands up for you. You want a man that protects you. But now you're going into a combination of an alpha, a sensitive alpha, right? So you need, that's what you're saying is now you want the guy that's in touch with his feelings. Well, that's where I come in because
Right?
that's who I am, and that's who I am as a man.
Is that a real man to you? Tell me what you think a real man is. Like, they could have an alpha dominating personality to be strong, and they could also show the softer side.
Well, I think the vulnerability for men is key because if you don't have that sense of vulnerability, then you don't have a very good communication process. So you're not going to be able to communicate your feelings, especially if you don't know what they are. So if you're a dominant man where it's all about, you know, maybe being aggressive or maybe just, you know, saying what you want and not listening to the other person and not sharing with them, you're just kind of dictating, you know, that type, right? So I think where men are lacking as well is that they're afraid to be vulnerable. They think vulnerability is a weakness. And I go, no. You know, I'm a strong man. I'm a physically strong man. I'm a big guy, whatever. And I'm the most sensitive man, you know, that I know. And so that's why I'm helping other people get to this, to show you that it's okay to have that softer. It's okay to cry in movies. It's okay to hold your girl and be vulnerable and no, you know, and here's a weird thing, you know, we're babies, to be honest. We all have a softer side. I don't care how big they are, how big you are, how physically big you are. We all have those softer sides. We're just afraid to show it because we've been taught decade after decade, generation after generation, not to show our softer side, not to be weak, which is the connection to vulnerability.
Okay, then I have a question. How do you see men changing that? If they're programmed in their belief is.
I think it's pretty, that's a very good question. Thank you. I think it's pretty simple, really, because when I work with guys, it's literally, I kind of hear them talk and I go, okay, so now tell me what you're really feeling. Because, you know, guys, they'll just talk on a surface level. And I'm like, well, I want this, I want that. I'm thinking this, I'm thinking that. I'm like, no. You're thinking a lot of things, but now how do you feel about that situation? You know, say, hey, my girlfriend's not having, let's go back to sex. My girlfriend's not having sex with me and I don't know what to do about it. Well, what are you doing about it? That's the real question. What are you doing about it? Are you initiating? Are you connecting to her? Have you gained weight and you're not working out and you don't feel good about yourself, therefore you're not, stepping up? That happens a lot too. Guys get comfortable.
I put on weight in the last year or two myself, so I get it.
And so, and so, yeah, and as a woman, that affects your sexuality or sensuality as well. Now you're maybe not as secure in certain ways that you were before, but then us as guys, we like it. We typically like it anyway. We like the changes and we accept that. So it's really just getting them to connect, like getting them to talk to me, and then I can find out, like, okay, so they have a fear of showing their emotions because of what? They're afraid the woman's going to leave them. That's one, right? They're afraid, like, oh, if I'm vulnerable, then she's going to think I'm weak and she's going to take advantage of me, or I'm going to lose my power, because men all have this ego crap about power. That's not reality. The reality is the communication, like you and I are communicating now. It's pretty simple, right? So
I have a question for you. So if your girlfriend or wife put on weight during your relationship, how would you approach it? In a tough way or a gentle way?
that's a really good question. It's happened before. And I remember I never brought it up, but they did. And they said, my clothes aren't fitting as well. And I said, well, let's get you new clothes, or what can I do to help? The best thing I think is, what can I do to help you? If you want help, so that's a tricky one, because they're like, what do you mean I need help? We're going fat, whatever they go into they can go to this whole thing about
subject, right?
But that's a touchy weight with women is it's like aging, when women get older, they see gray hair. That's a tricky one too. Like, oh, I got to color my hair. I got to do this. It's called maintenance. Guys do it too. Some guys do it more. Some guys do it less. But I think the weight, let's just say the weight issue, I guess there's a couple ways of dealing with. One, if you came to me and said, Josh, I've gained 10 pounds or whatever. I know you work out. I know you're in the gym. Can I go to the gym with you? Or so if you're asking me for help, then I'm going to say, yeah, baby, you look great, whatever. I like the way you are, but sure, I'll help you work that off if that's what you want. Maybe we change some of the food you're eating. Maybe, what caused it? Find the cause, but be supportive. So I think if men are supportive and don't make it like an issue, don't make it, like the elephant in the room, like, oh, we don't want to talk about it, but we need to talk about it. Then you guys can, you can deal with it together, and it should be a joint issue, because if you're a team, if you're a partnership, then it should be both of you together.
Right. And I'm sure the same goes with men on the other side. I mean, if guys gain a little bit in the middle,
yeah,
it's the same thing. I mean, would you want someone to be constantly reminding you or telling you? No, because I think that has the adverse effect. If you're constantly, I think if you come and approach it in the way you said, and more supportive, maybe hang out together, or maybe do a food plan together. I think that's, I don't know. I'm just speaking from personal, which I can only say from personal, right? But
well, that's how we learn, though. Here's what happens. That's a really good point, because if you're not coming from let's just say you're bringing somebody else into the situation, that has nothing to do with you. That has nothing to do with you and your relationship. Well, so and so said whatever. Keep it personal. I like that. You have to keep it personal. You have to be honest with yourself first, and then the guy has to be honest with himself. Guys tend to gain weight, and it doesn't seem to be that big of an issue, right? Because women go, oh no, I like it. But I'll ask you the same question. Do you like when a guy gets a belly? I mean, is that attractive to you, or do you like a guy that's more, that keeps in shape and stays, takes care of himself too? Because I don't think.
Well, I think this day and age, first of all, everybody should stay healthy. They should eat healthy, exercise. Now, in light of the coronavirus, which is hard to avoid, we need to be healthy and fit even more so to keep our immune system up.
Yeah, but there are still those people, and I think I see it a lot with my buddies when they after they've been in a relationship for a while, and they tend to forget about the gym. You know, they're now it's like they have a whole different routine, and it happens. It does happen, and as we get older, it takes more work. You know, it takes more work to keep that up. But
Well,
but
that's
I
our physical. That's our physical and our mental, our spiritual dynamic. We're so different. Men and women are very different. So how would you, well, you're working on a book, you said, right?
I'm working on a book. So it's called the Man. My whole thing is called Man Code Inc. or INC, Man Code Incorporated. It's Man Code Incorporated or
And
Man.
you have a website.
Yeah,
People
mancodeinc.com.
can go to Mancode.
Yeah, mancodeinc.com. You can find me there and you know, schedule appointments, whatever from there. I'm also working on what I call the men's manual of, you know, how to connect to women again. And really the truth of this is, and this is what you hear in relationships all the time, or at least that I hear, and I think you can relate to this: communication.
Mm.
That's the
Mhm.
that's the one thing that we all, and I think men and women, it's not just a man thing, it's not just a woman, this is a us thing. This is both sides, both sexes, because you have to think about it. If you're communicating clearly about what you want, the other person has to accept that as your truth, right? So you said, hey, I can only speak for myself. Well, that's communicating truthfully to you what you want. But you have to be honest with yourself first. So what do you really want in this relationship? Or what do you really want in a relationship? Let's, you know. And then the second thing is, when you're in that relationship, are you remaining to be truthful to yourself and communicate that? Or are you stuffing it and you're afraid because you got, you know, this great guy and he seems to treat you nice? Are you stuffing that to so that he won't leave? You know, so that's when the women do that, that's a fault in the relationship and communication from their side. And then from the guy's side, typically guys don't communicate that well at all. Let's be honest. We we're pretty much black and white. It's like, I'm hungry, I'm tired, I want food, I want food, I want
Right.
sleep, I want sex, you know. And then, but we don't communicate how we feel, and the reason for that is most men have never been taught. Women have this innate sensibility that they're all about feelings. They're all about that, you know, getting it out and talking it out. And, you know, that's why women have a lot more friends typically, and they go for luncheons or, you know, teas or phone calls, or and they're constantly airing out their things with their friends, right? Their women friends. Guys, we don't do that. Generally, or typically speaking, we just put it in a box and move on. And then maybe we have one buddy or one thing, and we go, "Oh man, my wife's like pissed me off. I'm gonna." And then they, you know, they go a typical guy. You know, they'll go get drunk, or they'll go get, they'll cheat or whatever. It's
I
like
knew
they
what
don't.
you were going to say. They're going to go get laid. I know you stop yourself.
I
Uh,
did,
yeah. Hmm.
but
Wow.
that's a typical, that's a stereotypical man, and that's what I call. There's like what I call the.
Exceptions to that.
Well, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, I don't think, I don't know. I don't think all men do that, but I'm sure they would think about it if they didn't do it. But
No, it is like it there. I think there's two. Well, I call like there's the lower man, which thinks like that, which. So by the way, when men cheat on women, it's um, it's their childlike sensibility of not being able to deal with their feelings. So it's not, they don't mean to do it. I don't think they go out and go, yeah, I'm going to get laid. No, they're pissed off and they don't know how to say, hey, that really, like, Diane, that really hurt my feelings when you said that. That would be simple, right? All you got to do is say that. It's that simple. And you go, wow, that just opened up so many things for me. Now we can work out the relationship, and I fucking love her. I love this woman, you know. I don't want to lose it. But if they don't deal with that, then it gets repressed and he goes, well, fuck her. I'm gonna go, whatever, I'm gonna go find somebody else, because she's not giving me what I want. We have that little inner child, that little boy that just, he just kind of wants to scream at mommy. It's
Well,
that.
okay, I'm gonna stop you then and ask you a question about it. So you have guys that are gonna say this to you. That's their trouble in the relationship, and that's what they're thinking about doing, or that's what they already did. And how are you gonna talk them out of it, even if it's an ongoing, unresolved issue? You break things off with someone before you go out and cheat. It's kind of like, I call it the overlapping.
Right.
Guys do it more than women. Women do it too. I'm not saying women don't
Right.
cheat and don't lie. But men like to always have a backup plan before they move on. So how can you teach men then how to resolve without it being a repeat pattern? Because sometimes things are a repeat pattern because they were talked about, but never really resolved.
Well, it's like, can I use you for example? When
Sure.
I was working with you and your,
Don't say names.
I'm not saying names, your
Don't name
boyfriend,
names.
yeah, no. So, and I remember asking you, you both, I said, what do you want? Remember that? And I said, what do you want? And when we got to that, when you find out what you really want, yeah, I want to be in this relationship. Yeah, I want to be in that relationship. Okay, so what's it going to take? For you, Guy, you're going to have to step up and be an active party. And for you, Diane, you're going to have to listen and know that his feelings are real. So he's now expressing himself. So remember, I got to that level, and that's really it. You get the man to step up and go, hey, one, I take responsibility for what I said. I'm sorry about what I said. I didn't mean it to hurt your feelings, but I'm really scared right now, or I'm really not in a good place emotionally. And when that whatever happened.
Yeah, I think you just hit the nail on the head. I think each party, the man and the woman, have to be in a good place, or they're not going to have any type of good relationship. You need to be happy within yourself, or you're not going to bring happiness to the relationship.
Well, that and take response. Here's what I find: men and women. I've had more women not do this than myself, and that is take responsibility for being hurtful. Take responsibility for the things that you said or the things that you did, because a lot of times they're not.
Yeah. Hey, when I get pushed into a corner, yep, that old Muir comes out for sure.
Yeah.
I'm definitely guilty of that. I could bite my tongue for a little bit, and then it's just going to come out.
But then, okay, so that's a good reason. So then it comes out. Why? Because you're not getting what you want, or because what? What is it?
Absolutely. Yeah, when we get to our age, we're kind of set in our ways a little bit, and it's hard to break our patterns. Although I've gone so many seminars and lectures with, and read books, but it's still hard. It's practice. It's practice. And we're a work in progress. Like you said, we're always evolving. We're always learning. But yeah, when people don't get what they want, whether you think so or not, we're all on different levels, and we all have triggers. So it depends on which level and what's going to trigger us, how we react.
So
I tend to be more of a reactionary person. So
so two things. So you probably attract a certain type of individual that does have a little drama in their life, right? Right? You feel like you attract drama. There's some kind of drama that you like. In
just because you knew that person.
No, I'm just saying
he was my grand teacher of life. And
all right, so
I'm friends with all my exes. I have relationships with everybody. So
I'm just saying, so there's something you also have to look at, like, what you're bringing to the table too. So if you're repeating a pattern, and that's the other thing that I like to work out with people. And by the way, here's the thing, we've all gone to the seminars, we've all done the what, I don't want to say anybody's names, all the programs, we read all the books. Doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. We can read 1,000 books. You're not going to get it if you're not doing the work. And I think the other thing is, probably most people don't take the one-on-one or the personal interest as I feel like I do, because I ask the real questions like, okay, let's get to the heart of it. Let's give you the tools. Let's give you the tools to understand, or to give you the toolbox to understand how you feel and what you feel, and then go from that. Because if you're just learning a 7-day process or a 20-day, just change your attitude in 30 days, all these books and all these things they teach you, most of the time you're not going to do that work, right? You're not going to do that. You're not going to finish the book, whatever book it is. I have probably 75 of them in the other room that I haven't finished. I'll be honest. I mean, I read enough and I get enough and I go, yeah, that's great. But then,
Pretty much what I
but
do.
the difference is I always did the work by myself. I went in, I tried to do, what I need to do for me. And like I said, it's a constant process. So if I can ask you, Diane, okay, let's get to the heart of the matter. What is lacking in your relationships? What is lacking in your personal life that you quote unquote haven't found the one yet? What are you settling for something? Are you attracting a certain type? You don't have to answer all these questions, but think about it, and it'll make you think about, well, wait a minute, Josh, maybe yeah, I want this and I want that and I want this. Okay, so be honest with yourself. Are you being specific in what you want? That would be my first question to you.
Well, I had my vision board, and I've been trying to do the secret where I'm manifesting and saying what I want and you're not supposed to say what you don't want. Just to only say what you do want.
Right. Keep it positive, right?
Yeah, and I think I think I did. I think I've accomplished, but they still have quirks that we all have to work on. Everybody's got, some things. Even, is there really such thing as the perfect person?
I think there's always, I do believe in, that love and and finding that one. And I think I call it hopeful romantic, not hopeless romantic. I think it's hopeful. And I think that we all want the same thing. It's not like Disney movie love. I don't think we want a companion. I think we all want a partner. We want somebody to communicate with us. And that takes work. It's not, we all come from different walks of life and different backgrounds. And that's why I said, when you feel comfortable with someone or you feel safe with that person, that's a really good start. Because when you feel safe with that person, then you can trust them. Obviously, trust is a major issue or a major factor in it, and then you can grow from that. So when you come out of that trust and you grow from that, then these other things you just kind of like choose your battles. If you don't like the way they eat, that's a big thing for women, right? Oh man, you should have seen him. He eats like a pig. You've never seen it. Yeah, exactly. So then you say, so those things are changeable, though. Those are minor things that you can bring that up and you go, you know what? I just want to tell you. And this is where I say about being honest and communicating in a relationship. You got to say these things. You can't just stuff them and go, God, I hate the way he eats, and never tell him. You have to point it out and go, you know what? I don't know where you learned that. I don't know, whatever, but I don't feel like it's appropriate, or I don't feel it really affects me. And I would like to see, can we be more aware of that? And most guys, if they want to change, they want to evolve, they'll go, yeah, I didn't even know I did that. I didn't even think about it. I've been doing it since I was 12, whatever. And they go, oh, wow, you're right. It's kind of disgusting.
Yeah,
and that's the man's, then again, this is where men have to be men. They have to stand up and take responsibility for their actions. How many people I don't know. I don't know what happened. I didn't do it. I didn't, you hear this all the time, right? They don't take responsibility for anything. It's like, I don't know. That's a great answer, right?
Well, so in closing, what's your advice to the man, and then what would be your advice to the woman? And
as far as what?
The happiness and
like relationship, or about keeping a relationship, or finding the one?
Yeah. Of course, like sustaining a healthy, happy, loving relationship.
I think the key, the basis is communication. So if you can keep that communication open, both sides, and be able to listen and be able to respect that person. So if you lose respect, then I think you're battling. That's an uphill battle. But just communicating, looking into one another, taking time for one another. Even like this. If you're dating someone outside the city limits or further away and you can't get to them, then take time. Communicate, FaceTime or Zoom, whatever it is, and take the time to listen to them and be there for them. So the other thing is, with this, you got to allow yourself to let go. You can't just go into it going, well, I need this, I want this, I want this. You have to listen to the other person. What do they need? What are your needs? What are my needs? Let's come together with those needs. And hopefully with that communication, it should be pretty easy.
Well, thank you, Josh.
Well, thank you,
We're going
Diane.
to meet again. We're going to have an update on this, and we'll do the other slide part 2 with Josh Carmichael. But in the meantime, tell everybody again where to go to get some info and to maybe.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, by the way. I think you're wonderful. You're a wonderful lady, and I appreciate your time and been friends for so long. And I'd love to work with you again and do that. But it's Mancode Inc., mancodeinc.com. That's me. You'll find me there. You can contact me there, and then.
And are you on Facebook or Instagram for them to look up? Or
Instagram is new, but it is Mancode Inc. on Instagram as well, or at Mancode Inc. All one word.
There you go, guys. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Josh.
Thank you, Diane.
Thanks for being a guest on the other side TV.
Yay.
And we'll definitely get back to you and hear some more updates, and maybe you'll have some other stories you could share with us.
I'd love it. I love it.
That would be a good.
Yeah, we bring some people on, and we could work with them live if you want. We can do that.
That would be great. Absolutely. Yeah. We'll do that one next.
Let's do that. Let's set it up.
Okay. All right.
All right. Thank you. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.